Did you know that Erin Gray, famed as Colonel Wilma Deering from the Buck Rogers movie, denied co-star Gil Gerard a romantic relationship even after they maintained such intense chemistry on the show? Well, it's true, and it's due to something she suffered from her father and her longest romance ever. But is it in any way related to why she, as one of the most expensive actresses during her prime, became bankrupt and bedridden just before the age of 50? You'll have to watch to the end of the video to find out while we show you some of her rare photos. Erin Gray was born to Diane and Daniel Gray in Honolulu, Hawaii, and she became her father's enemy immediately after birth. Daniel reportedly physically abused his wife, and when she started resisting him, he turned to his daughter. Eventually, her mother abandoned the toxic marriage, and 8-year-old Erin had to stay with her grandparents in Palm Springs, California, for the next few years of her life. She reunited with her mother later on in Larkspur, California, where she attended Redwood High School, and that was where she found out that her mother had still not learned her lessons. Diane had remarried, and the man who had become Erin's stepfather was even worse than her real father. He also abused them, only that this time it was sexual. This continued until one day, out of rage, she took a knife and said, "If you ever touch me again, I'll kill you." This was no way for a child to be raised, but Erin somehow survived all of these. Telling her story in 2006 at the Hubbard House, she said, "I know firsthand what it is to be a child living in fear and how it damages the soul and damages the spirit." Her mother had made her life miserable with the men she said yes to, but she was about to do something even worse. Without her permission, she placed Erin's pictures for sale until a clothing company came for them. This was something she did for quick cash, but the company wanted more than she had planned to give. They offered Gray an official modeling gig, and at the young age of 14, she began her modeling career. Erin proved her worth when she won her very first contest in St. Louis, and from that time, it was all endorsements, plane tickets, and vacations for the young actress. At age 18, she bagged a math major at UCLA. After this, Gray traveled to Los Angeles, where she was seen in many TV commercials, and Malibu U would feature her as a TV dancer in 1967. By 1975, Erin had become so successful that she was one of America's top TV models, earning $100,000 a year. Acting was never top of her considerations, but spending so much time modeling in front of the camera enticed her. So, while in LA, as a means of getting a side income, Gray auditioned for small parts in television and films. In 1978, she landed her first starring role on the mini-TV series Evening at Byzantium. As with her first modeling assignment, Erin didn't fail to impress in her first acting role, and Universal Studios was going to reward her for it. They offered her a 7-year contract, which secured her the role of Colonel Wilma Deering in the movie Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. It was first just a theatrically released movie, but was later rebranded into a weekly TV series. Buck Rogers easily became a fan favorite because of its creative display of futuristic technologies and, of course, the subtle romance that existed between actors Gil Gerard and Erin Gray. As this went on, viewers didn't know that there was an even greater drama happening whenever the cameras stopped rolling. Before Erin got the role of Colonel Wilma in Buck Rogers, she quickly tied the knot with her high school sweetheart, Ken Schwartz. And by the time the film was about to go into production, the actress was welcoming her first child, Kevin Gray Schwartz. Schwartz, who was a successful real estate executive, had to place his job on hold to nurture his young son when Gray first started working at Buck Rogers. Eventually, the family moved to Los Angeles just so Erin could have more time with her son, but it was still hard to juggle family and career. Gray secretly knew that she was failing at motherhood, and this would become one of her many regrets. Unfortunately, even for the Colonel Wilma Deering role that was tearing her home apart, Erin wasn't given the best of compensations. She revealed that she was only allowed to work in Universal Studios because she was the first to sign the $600 per week contract. That reportedly became her salary all through her time in the popular show. Part of Erin's recent confessions is that her time in Buck Rogers was not all that the fans believed it to be. From the first day she was called up for the Colonel Wilma role to her last moments on the show, it was all chains of unending suffering and discomfort. First was that the studio was sited too close to her. This is usually an advantage, except that Erin had some of the worst nervous breakdowns. Each time she got in the car to drive to work, the actress had an ugly picture in her mind of what working on Buck Rogers was going to tempt her with. These infamous nervous breakdowns started right from when she auditioned for the role. According to the actress, she sat before the judges believing that they were never going to choose her. To make matters worse, the show creators refused her a script, and they asked that she play out a dialogue with co-star Gil Gerard. Gray thought this to be unfair, and she revealed that it made her furious. But she was comforted by co-star Gil Gerard. Erin enjoyed such beautiful friendliness and chemistry with Gil that friends and fans thought they were an item even though she was married. Gil himself was not on the market when he met Erin. He was also married to his second wife, and so the best the two stars could get out of this was friendship. They still maintain a very strong bond even to this day. So from Erin's testimonies, Gil Gerard seemed to be the only good thing out of Buck Rogers for her. Chief of her worst moments on the show was when she was made to wear a spandex that had to be so tight that she was sewn into it. Gray reportedly asked for all of her spandexes to be burned after her last day on the show. Well, this was until she figured out how much they went for at auctions. First was her father, then her stepfather, and Erin sincerely believed that things were different now that she was a celebrity, until her husband would make her relive all of her childhood trauma. Ken Schwartz seemed like the trophy husband until he came back from the Vietnam War. Then his wife turned into his punching bag. But Gray remained in this marriage because she was convinced that her sweet husband was still somewhere inside this violent war veteran. She dismissed the physical abuse as evidence of PTSD struggle. To save her life, her friend had to relocate her to a shelter for victims of domestic violence. Explaining what happened back then to Wired, she said, "My girlfriend said, 'Shut up, you're just going someplace and you're going to thank me later because you need this help.' I was having these panic attacks. I was shattered into 1,000 pieces, and I needed to learn how to fix myself and get on with my life, but I didn't know what to do." After 20 years of being stuck in this toxic marriage, Erin finally found the boldness to walk away. And in 1990, she divorced her husband. Divorcing her husband unfortunately didn't make her problems go away as Erin had expected. Life was going to continue to throw curveballs at her until she was almost living on the streets. By the early 90s, Gray's financial situation was crumbling because of her last divorce. And just around this time also, she lost 6 of her family members. The actress confessed this to be the darkest days of her life. To survive, she started selling autographs and meeting with fans who could offer any help to her. It didn't seem like it, but there was light at the end of Gray's tunnel. Things started to look up after she made the bold step to start her own company. Erin called it Heroes for Hire, and all they had been doing for the past decade is connecting celebrities with events while handling the logistics. Erin Gray was not just a screen wonder, but this actress had also proved how tough she is in the way she handled these many traumatic experiences. Even after 40 years, many fans of the Buck Rogers show agreed that they only stayed to the end because of Erin Gray. We all had friends who went crazy anytime they saw Erin Gray in a spandex. Well, they will be glad to know that it didn't go unnoticed. In an interview with Den of Geek, Gray confessed that she knew that boys did a few weird things with her pictures. "We're walking down the street and all of a sudden you see the lights go on behind the eyes. What I found from going to the events is that obviously I helped a lot of young teenage boys go through puberty. The ladies were also not left out." The actress revealed that she also had a few women walk up to her to appreciate her for being their first strong female role model. Erin Gray wasted no time after her divorce to give herself to love again, and by 1991, she was walking down the aisle with cinematographer Richard Hissong. With Richard, she found satisfaction in the 2 areas that Buck Rogers denied her: family and career. Her husband was the director of photography on Silver Spoons, and this was her next movie after Buck Rogers. Silver Spoons blended naturally with who she wanted to be as an actress and as a mother. The actress gushes anytime she is asked about her time schedules. "It was a perfect job," she said, "because I didn't have to come into work till noon, so I was able, with Silver Spoons, to blend being a wife and a mother and having a family and being there for my son." Finally, it's looking all bright and beautiful for Erin Gray, who believes that she has found true lasting happiness with Richard Hissong. And we can only wish her the best in her union. Erin Gray's last attack came for her life, and when it failed, it had her bedridden for weeks. She was diagnosed with pneumonia, and that had her paralyzed until she turned to an unpopular solution for salvation. Gray revealed that she stumbled on the concept of Tai Chi for the first time as a mathematics student at UCLA, and after a few months, she traveled to Los Angeles to study with a Grand Master. It was not until sickness came for her that she would commit fully to the practice of Tai Chi, and that to her was what saved her from the claws of death. "I have not been sick for one day since then. That was since 1993, Erin said. I've nursed my husband back to health, I've nursed the kids back, I've cleaned up the vomit, but I haven't caught any of it. And to me, Tai Chi is the answer, or Qigong, either way. As expected, Gray faced many harsh criticisms because of this, but she refused to be convinced out of her faith. She has been working with her husband on an upcoming video series about Tai Chi and Qigong. When Erin is not teaching Tai Chi and how body energy channels, you will find her advocating for survivors of abuse. She hopes to use her pain to support others who might be struggling with something similar. The actress is currently the spokeswoman of the same shelter that saved her from her abusive ex-husband, and this to her is more fulfilling than the promises of Hollywood. Part of Gray's most recent project is a book she co-authored with actress Mara Pearl. The title is Act Right, a Manual. The book promises to help young aspiring actors in the industry find more fulfilling roles. Life on the screen is looking like a thing of the past for Erin Gray, and although she has not announced her retirement yet, fans fear that she might never make that comeback. These days, Erin Gray is just all about family and her Tai Chi ministry. Erin Gray, now 74, continues to be as tough and energetic as we remember Colonel Wilma. We can say that she had the last laugh as she ended up with all that she has ever wanted: family, time away from Hollywood, and an important role in other people's lives. This iconic actress has an estimated net worth of $5 million, according to CelebrityNetWorth.com. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other videos of beautiful actresses from the yesteryears on the end screen below. As always, thanks for watching.